So good afternoon to all IEM and UEM family members. So today, Professor Ravindra Manju from the Department of Mechanical Engineering will be presenting. He's from the Mechanical Engineering Department of UEM Jaipur. His topic is VCRS based industrial water chiller with advanced safety equipments. Okay, so take on, Professor Manju. Kindly take on from here.
Thank you, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you're audible. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, sir. Good afternoon to all IMUM family members. First of all, I would like to thank our Chancellor, sir, Director, sir, Vice Chancellor, sir, Dean, sir, Provost, sir, all HODs, all professors, and IMUM family members to giving me an opportunity to give a presentation on VCRS-based industrial water chiller with advanced safety equipments. As we know very well that in today's life, refrigerator will play an important role to provide us comforts in help to keep food fresh and prevent growth of bacteria. It widely used in homes, hospitals, malls, and transportation. Without refrigeration, we can't imagine a comfort life. Today, I am going to talk on industrial water chiller with advanced safety equipments. The objective of these presentations are define terms refrigeration and cooling system, list to the applications of refrigeration in household and industries, design a vapor compression refrigeration based water chiller, and discuss on safeties of refrigeration system. Before starting VCRS, I am going to explore little about refrigeration. As we all know that refrigeration is the best way to keep things cool and fresh. Refrigeration reduces the temperature of a substance by removing energy in the form of heat. It is an artificial process by which the heat is dissipated. The primary purpose of refrigeration is to lower the temperature of the enclosed space or substance and maintain that at low temperature. Now, why do we need to lower the temperature? We can preserve to food by reduce the growth of microorganisms in food. Microorganism level increases with both time and temperature. We can reduce growth of bacteria by maintaining low temperature. Secondly, we need to secure proper functioning of machinery in manufacturing industries and large computers by removing heat. Air conditioners make our life comfortable. Also, we use to make ice creams and ice cubes. Now, what is VCRS? VCRS is nothing else. The full form of VCRS is Vapor Compression Refrigeration System. The Vapor Compression Refrigeration System is an advanced type refrigeration system which uses a suitable working substance for cooling purpose known as a refrigerant. And this substance works on a closed cycle. A VCRS have four main components to generate refrigeration effect. I will tell about them in coming slides. Now, merits of VCRS. Vapor compression refrigeration system are similar, also are smaller in the size for the given capacity of refrigeration. Vapor compression refrigeration system work on closed cycle and have less tear and wear. That's why they have less running cost. It can be employed over a large range of temperatures. Its coefficient of performance is quite high. Now, demerits. Vapor compression refrigeration systems have few disadvantages, like due to specific and complex design of compressor, condenser, and expansion device, vapor compression refrigeration system have high initial cost. As we know that vapor compression refrigeration system work on a closed cycle and filled with refrigerant to generate refrigeration effect. Without proper amount of refrigeration, we can't get good refrigeration effect. Less refrigerant amount is responsible for less refrigeration effect. The prevention of leakage of the refrigerant is the major problem in vapor compression system. Leakage can occur in the brazing part or in the flaring part. Apart this, after a long time of insulation, it can occur in condenser or evaporator due to rusting of pipes. Now, main components of vapor compression refrigeration system. Vapor compression refrigeration system have four main components. The first one is compressor. It is main device of the VCRS. As the name indicates, it is the device which used to compress the vapor refrigerant. After compression, the high pressure and high temperature vapor refrigerant is discharged into the condenser through a discharge valve. Second is condenser. It is used after compression in high pressure side of a refrigeration system. Its function is to remove heat of the hot vapor refrigerant which is discharged from the compressor. Heat of refrigerant is transferred to the wall of the condenser tubes and then tubes to cooling medium. The cooling medium may be air or water. At the end of condenser, we get high pressure liquid refrigerant. Now, expansion device. The expansion device, also known as throttling device or metering device. It is used to after the condenser. It has two main functions. It reduces the high pressure liquid refrigerant to low pressure refrigerant and control the amount of refrigerant. The next component is evaporator. The evaporator consists of coil of pipes in which the low pressure and the low temperature liquid vapor refrigerant is vaporized and converted into superheat vapor refrigerant. It absorbs the heat from the room or surrounding which is to be cooled. When hot air is passed through the evaporator, the liquid vapor refrigerant absorbs latent heat of the vaporization from the flowing air and we get cooled air. Now, working of a VCRS system. First is compression process. Over here you can see a working cycle of vapor compression refrigeration system. During working of compressor, a low temperature and low pressure vapor, generally superheated vapor refrigerant drawn into the compressor through the inlet valve and also known as a suction valve. And a high pressure, high temperature exit through its discharge valve. The inlet of compressor is denoted by 0.1 and discharge by 0.2. In a pH pressure enthalpy curve, compressor work is shown by process 1 to 2. At the end of compression, we will get high pressure, high temperature superheated vapor refrigerant. Working of now condensing process 2 to 3 days. High pressure, high temperature superheated vapor refrigerant pass through the condenser. During process 2 to 2 days, temperature of refrigerant decreases and it converted into dry saturated vapor. After that, during the process 2 days to 3 is converted into saturated liquid by removing latent heat from it. Now during process 3 to 3 days, saturated liquid again cool down and it is converted into subcooled liquid refrigerant. The process 3 to 3 days is known as subcooling or undercooling. Now expansion process 3 days to 4. In this, the subcooled liquid refrigerant entered in the expansion valve in which it have a very small orifice or hole. Due to this orifice, pressure of refrigerant decreases, and as we know that the size of orifice is a very small, so a little amount of subcooled liquid refrigerant is passed through this orifice with the low pressure. During this expansion, the refrigerant is spread in the form of very small droplets and entered in the evaporator. Now vaporizing process 4 to 1. In this, the low temperature and low pressure liquid refrigerant enters in the evaporator and start to absorb latent heat of medium. Medium may be water or air. Due to this low pressure, refrigerant is boiled easily by absorbing less amount of latent heat. As we know very well that boiling of liquid below atmospheric pressure required less amount of the heat compared to atmospheric pressure, and this phenomenon due to the work behind a refrigeration system. Now over here you can see a vapor compression refrigeration system with basic components. These basic systems generally we use in household, small freezers, in deep freezers, and in the cheapest air conditioners. In these apparatus, we use only 4 main components with an electrical PCB to control the temperature. There are 2 factors due to which this system do not have advanced component. The first factor is that it is designed for small temperature variation and work on fixed load. For example, in air conditioning system, we can take minimum to minimum 15 to 16 degree temperature on a room load. So there is no need to advance components. Second factor is price. In this system, we use capillary for the expansion because one capillary have cost rupees 100, but the one expansion wall have minimum cost rupees 4,000. Now VCRS with advanced components. So over here you can see a vapor compression refrigeration system with few advanced components. In such type of system, we use advanced component like thermal expansion valve (TXV) to control the amount of refrigerant according to evaporator load and solenoid valve to stop flow of refrigerant when power goes out. Filter dryer is used to remove moisture and foreign particles to prevent choking of the expansion valve. Now water chiller cycle. Generally, water chiller cycle divided into two parts. The first cycle is known as refrigeration cycle, which is used to decrease temperature of water. Second cycle is cold water cycle. This cycle is used to extract the heat from medium. For example, in air handling unit, the cold water is used to extract the heat of the air and cold air drawn in the room by a duct system. Second example, in industries, this cold water used to cool down temperature of the coolant and oil, etc. In dairy industries, the cold water is used for milk pasteurization process. Now refrigeration cycle for water chiller. To design a VCRS based water chiller, we need proper selection of 4 basic components of a refrigeration cycle like compressor, condenser, expansion valve, and evaporator according to required cooling load along with safety equipments. Now water cycle for a cold water chiller. In water cycle, we need a proper insulated water storage tank agitator to rotate water continuously to avoid the ice forming around the evaporator's pipe, a flow pump to transfer the water, and a heat exchanger to extract heat from medium along with safety equipments. Now load calculation. Load calculation is very important part of a refrigeration cycle. Actually, selection of components of refrigeration system depends on load value. For example, if we want to cool down temperature of 500 kg water from 27 degrees centigrade to 0 degrees centigrade in 130 minutes, then what size of refrigeration unit we need to install? Actually, first of all, we need to calculate an amount of heat that required to reject from water to achieve 0 degree temperature. So over here you can see the temperature difference delta T is 27 minus 0. So this is equal to 27 degrees centigrade, and this is also equal to 27 degree Kelvin. And time T is 130 minutes. The mass of water is 500 kg. Specific heat of water is 4.18 kilojoule per kg Kelvin. Put these values in the given formula, Q is equal to mCp delta T divided by time. And the after calculation, we have got that we need to reject 434 kilojoule heat from water per minute. Now capacity of plant. We know very well that practical unit of refrigeration is the ton. So we need to convert the amount of the heat in tons. We know that the tons is denoted by TR. So 1 TR is equal to 210 kilojoule per minute. This is the practical value. A theoretical value is equal to 234. Now 434 divided by 210 is almost equal to 2 TR. That means there we need to install a 2-ton refrigeration unit for given conditions. Now selection of compressor. All components are important to design a refrigeration system, but the compressor is heart of a refrigeration system, and efficiency of all components depend on this. Therefore, the compressor selection becomes critical and must be related to the system in which it will operate. One of the most confusing aspects when selecting a commercial refrigeration compressor is the capacity to choose the right compressor for a refrigeration application. The capacity should be considered in relation to temperature and pressure level. In the refrigeration system, compressors are divided in three categories. First is high back pressure. These compressors are suitable for 40 degrees centigrade to 1 degree centigrade. Second is commercial back pressure. These compressors are suitable for 10 degrees centigrade to minus 20 degrees centigrade. Third is low back pressure. These compressors are suitable for minus 2 degrees centigrade to minus 30 degrees centigrade. So for the water chiller, we can select both high and commercial back pressure compressors according to temperature range. Now selection of condenser. Generally, we have two types of condenser. First is air cooled, and second is water cooled condensers. If there is large temperature to dissipate, then one should prefer water cooled condenser with cooling tower. Secondly, selection of condenser also depends on climate conditions like maximum and minimum temperature conditions of particular area. Also, selection of the condenser depends on area of application. As for example, for room AC, normal condenser is sufficient, but for water chiller, we need large size condenser to achieve low temperature. A 2TR refrigeration system normally required 30 centimeter into 30 centimeter into 4 rows condenser with fan of diameter 20 centimeter, and fan should have 1400 RPM. Now selection of evaporator. Selection of evaporator depends on flow rate of refrigerant and applications. For example, in air conditioning system, we use fin tube type evaporator, but in industries or in water chiller, we are used coil type and heat exchanger type evaporators. Coil type have steel and copper tubes in spiral form or rectangular form without fins. They are immersed in a water tank. Also, according to applications, we can use plate type and shell and tube type heat exchangers. A 2-tier refrigeration system required 400 feet copper tube in form of 100 feet into 4 circuits for coil type evaporator. Now selection of expansion valve. Selection of expansion valve depends on capacity of compressor, types of refrigerant, and evaporator load. In water chiller or cold storage, evaporator have variable load according to temperature value. At the low temperature, the evaporator required less amount of refrigerant, and at high temperature, it requires more amount of refrigerant. So in the water chiller, generally we use a thermostatic expansion valve which control the amount of refrigerant as well as regulate the superheat of the refrigerant that flow out of the evaporator. TXV have a sensing bulb which need to be mounted at the end of evaporator horizontally. The sensing bulb sense the suction temperature and drive the diaphragm to control the amount of refrigerant so that superheated vapor refrigerant is drawn in the compressor. Also in the water chiller and cold storage, we require to achieve low temperature, so suitable refrigerants are R134A and R404A. Now safety equipments for a compressor and a refrigeration system. In this section, I am going to discuss on few advanced safety equipments of a water chiller. The first is compressor should have 3 minutes starting delay because it needs minimum 3 minutes to equalize pressure on suction side and discharge side. Otherwise, it will require very high torque to start and starting winding can be burned. Second is a non-return valve should be installed in discharge line just after compressor to prevent back pressure of the refrigerant on the compressor. In the picture, you can see a temperature controller of the chiller with time delay and NRV. I strongly recommend to use a time delay relay in refrigerator to extend its life, if that facility not provided by the manufacturer. Now, next is pressure protecting device. A high pressure and low pressure switch must be installed in refrigerator circuit. A high pressure switch HPS and a low pressure switch LPS are protective device for the compressor and refrigeration circuit. They monitor the pressure of refrigerant in suction side and discharge side and cut out to power supply of compressor. If either one of these switches trip, the chiller unit will shut down. We can use a separate switch for the low and high pressure, or we can use both in one type switch. Danfoss KP15 model is good option for that. The low pressure switch should be mounted in suction line before compressor, and high pressure switch just after NRV or compressor in discharge side. In this picture, you can see a refrigeration circuit with NRV, temperature controller, pressure switch KP15, and solenoid valve. Now, solenoid valve. A solenoid valve is an electromechanical valve which used to control the flow of refrigerant when power goes out. The refrigerant flow continuously through expansion valve, but at the same time, blower of evaporator has stopped. So then we need to stop the flow of refrigerant to prevent forming of ice in the evaporator. Secondly, it is useful to store refrigerant when we shift to unit on another location. To store refrigerant in the condenser is known as pump down cycle. Thirdly, it is useful when we need to change compressor. Now, liquid receiver. A liquid receiver is a storage tank for holding liquid refrigerant and is located after the condenser in a refrigeration system. It is an important part of any system because it ensures liquid refrigerant is entering in the expansion device. Each receiver has inlet and outlet conditions and threaded port for the installation of an overpressure safety relief device. Also, it is hold excess amount of refrigerant which is not in the circulation. When we installed a receiver in refrigeration system, we need to charge 20% more refrigerant. Now, side glass. Side glass provide an important indications of any problem involving the refrigerant and moisture in the system. A slide glass is usually fitted in the liquid line immediately after the filter dryer. If a side glass is clear with the green color indicators, that means system is okay, no moisture present in the system, and refrigerant is fully charged. Remember that moisture is harmful for refrigeration system and it is responsible for system choking. If a side glass have bubbles with the yellow color indicator, that means system have moisture and low refrigerant. Now, suction line accumulator. As we know very well that all compressors in vapor compression refrigeration system are designed for vapor refrigerant only. A suction line accumulator prevents compressor damage from a liquid refrigerant which can enter into the compressor from the suction line. The small amount of liquid refrigerant will boil off in the suction line. The accumulators have a metering ejector device that pick up liquid, vaporize it, and returns it to the compressor. Now, oil separator. As the name suggests, it is used to separate the oil from refrigerant. It is used to maintain the oil level in the compressor and prevent tear and wear of the compressor. Oil separator is installed in the discharge line just before condenser. Now over here in this picture, you can see a layout of complete VCRS based water chiller with all safety equipments The lower half cycle is known as a refrigeration cycle and upper cycle is known as a cold water cycle. Now I request to sir launch the poll. Sir, please.
Yes, I will do that. So the poll you want is the cheapest expansion device. I have just launched it, which is the cheapest expansion device, and I request all members to vote at your earliest. It is 9 seconds and we have reached around 19% votes. We will wait for 1 minute. So we have reached 26 seconds. I request all members to vote within 1 minute. We'll wait for 1 minute. We have reached roughly 45% votes, but the rate is very slow now. So I request all members to vote very fast. Okay, so we are almost there. It's 1 minute over. We have 51% votes. I close it and I share the results. And you can see the results. 58% have gone for the first option, which is thermostatic expansion valve. The second option, capillary tube, 29%, and ball valve 13%. So, Professor Manju, your views, please.
Actually, sir, thermostatic valve have orifice, filter, diaphragm, and sensing valve. And ball valve is not a thermostatic valve. It is a simple valve which is used to for the on and off purpose. So, and capillary tube is cheapest expansion device, sir. It is a long and small diameter tubes. It does not have any orifice, filters, diaphragm, and the sensing bulbs. So the second option is right, sir. Capillary tube is cheapest expansion.
So today we missed the proper answer by a big margin. So any views on that from the listeners, members of IEM and UEM family? Any views on that? Because today we missed the correct answer by a big margin. Only 29% have gone for the first option, and 58% has gone for the for the correct option. Only 29% has gone for, and 58% went for a wrong option. So any views on that from any member on IEM UEM family? If you want to write that in the questions panel, we can have a discussion. I don't get any. So, Professor Manju?
Actually, sir, when we apply practically on the refrigeration system, then we observe that what is the difference between thermostatic expansion valve and the capillary tubes.
Okay, so Professor Arun Kumar Chatterjee wants to say something again, so I will unmute him. Just a minute, please. So yes, sir, I have unmuted you, Professor Arun Kumar Chatterjee, sir. I unmuted you.
Yes, sir. I can see that.
Good afternoon
to you, to Professor Manju, to everybody in the meeting, sir. I felt personally that it was a lot of material packed into half an hour, and even for me after a hard day's work, it's difficult to assimilate so fast. And the uptake, of course, my personal uptake is a little slower than others. So that I thought, and maybe I do not know, I may have missed it. If these things were discussed in detail, I do not know whether it was discussed because I'm not sure. That is perhaps the reason, at least I can say that, it was a lot of material packed into half an hour's discussion. So that would be the reason. Thank you very much.
Okay. So thank you, sir. Yes, Professor Manju.
Sir, actually, thermostatic. Hello. Am I audible, sir? Hello.
Please tell me. Yes. Go ahead. You're audible.
Okay, sir. Actually, in the chiller and in your cold storage, we need to achieve very less temperature. Okay, so there we can't use capillary tubes. Okay, capillary tube is a very small tubes with the long distance, like the 11 feet, 12 feet. Okay, but sir, expansion, your thermostatic expansion was generally we used to get the superheated refrigerant at the end of the evaporator. So the thermostatic valve have orifice and the sensing bulb, which is used to change the amount of the refrigerant according to the load of evaporator. There we have a diaphragm which work on the pressure or and the temperature of a refrigerant which coming out from the evaporator. So there we actually the manufacturing is complex, the thermostatic valve. So this is not a cheapest device. The cheapest device is the capillary tubes.
Okay, fine. But Professor Manju, as Professor Chatterjee said, that it was a little bit tough for half an hour. The topic was too much deep and maybe not a very general topic. So maybe
Obviously.
you can generalize it a little bit and take over some other day, maybe a little general for everybody to grab, because you can understand there are people from mathematics, other background also, like maybe even from English. So if
Yes.
you can make it a little more general some other day and take it over from there, then it will be easier. Yes.
Actually, sir, today's talk on advanced refrigeration system. Actually, chiller and cold storage, these systems work on the advanced refrigeration system, and the refrigeration have the wide area. Okay, so it is impossible to cover in the 30 minutes, sir. I know, sir.
Okay. That's really that's proper. Whatever you said is proper. Okay, so there is one question from Dr. Shoumodipto Pal, but prior to that, I will read out from Professor Gunjan Kumar stating that project is the key for cost estimate. Yes, we agree with you, Professor Gunjan. So we may take over certain projects. Professor Manju is, let me tell all of you that Professor Manju is a very, very practical oriented person. He develops many things in his own hands. He has got his own company also, which he parallelly runs alongside being a professor. So he develops products. Many of his students have developed AC, refrigerator and things like that under him. So basic things he keeps on developing. So maybe he's more practical oriented. I will request Professor Manju, maybe someday you can take over some project on this and show some of your projects or maybe some basic projects to all teachers. That will also be good. Anyway,
Sir,
Dr. Shoumodipto Paul has got a question. He says, thank you, sir, for giving an overview of vapor compressed refrigeration system. Can you give some idea about solid state refrigeration technique?
No, sir. Actually, I not have the big idea on this. Actually, my interesting topic is VCRS.
Okay,
The
so
solid state on the thermoelectric plates, sir. But these are the not the good option of the refrigerations. They have less efficiency. They not have the efficiency is equal to VCRS system.
okay, so you say vapor compressed refrigeration system is much more efficient than solid state refrigeration technique.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so some other day, some other professor may take up that also, solid state refrigeration technique. So do you want to continue from here? Anything else to be given, or do we end it over here? Professor Manju? No more questions are there in the question panel. Do we end it over here, or any other points you have?
Yes, sir. And over here. And thank you, sir.
Okay.
Give me an
Thank you.
opportunity. Thank you to all IMUM family members.
Thank you. Thanks to all IEM and UEM family members. Thank you. Thanks to all of you. Thank you, Professor Manju.